Okay, it's 8:30 now. We've had a decent sleep. Oh gosh, that just came across me. Right, we've had a decent sleep. It's finally stopped raining. The winds have picked up considerably. The winds probably haven't even been that bad, but earlier on this thing sounded like it was going to take off. But yeah, it's drying out. So we're going to go and get up, get a coffee, croissant, and plan our day. Unfortunately, the winds are picking up and it's going to be gusting 30 to 40. There goes Josh, off to go make the coffees like a champion.
Don't get blown away.
But yeah, we'll see what we can do with today. It's going to be pretty fresh on the wind side, so we definitely wouldn't have got to vlog it today, put it that way. Not going to happen.
Nope. We can give it a go, but probably not advisable.
It's got death written all over it. Right, anyway, coffee. Okay, it looks nice and sheltered here. However, we have got 40-mile-an-hour gusting, possibly westerlies or southerlies or easterlies, depending on which way it swings. Josh is waiting for a friend to go and tell him what the script is.
So I've got some friends on the fish farms. They're steaming from one site to another today, and they'll be passing all out the spots that we want to hit. So he'll give us the all go basically, whether we can hit them or not. I don't think we will by the time the weather hits though. But there's some wrecks we can maybe go have a look at.
Oh, he's ready to roll. You ready for an adventure? Always. There's nothing nicer than getting into a wet, cold suit, is there? Unfortunately, we didn't have access to even warm water, let alone hot water, so it's cold wetsuit lube and cold wetsuits. However, as I've always said, cold's not a real thing, it's just a state of mind. With a 7.5mm wetsuit, I was more than dressed for the conditions, and we headed out into some pretty atrocious wind and waves to go and find a spot. The weather was truly horrific, the wind and rain was relentless, and I couldn't help but question our sanity. I'm going to do a little bit of boating for Josh, while Josh goes down for a dive. Josh has been boating for me a wee bit, you probably can't hear me over the wind and engine, but it's been pretty hard going. The ground looks incredible, however the fish just aren't there. Josh was first to find the fish and put a lovely shot into this cracking fish. Josh then told me to have a dive in the same spot. I did, and I pulled up this lovely fish. It was a long shot and I hit it slightly low, and I was really worried about it ripping off, so I was very cautious to play it until it was in my hand and then get a good hold of it and dispatch it. Nice wee brace of fish there. Josh's one, my one. There was a few other big ones kicking around, but it was very patchy. You either saw them on some of the dives, you didn't see any fish at all, and some of them they were just teeming. But it's holding out for that big one at the back of the shoal, and sometimes you spook the wall and then you don't get anything. But it's actually died, but the weather is pretty horrific. and we're just gonna go and get changed and then get away back down onto the main island. GoPros never really do the sea state justice, however in the distance you can see there's plenty of white horses and the hyper smooth on the GoPro is really struggling to smooth out this. Okay, so Josh's fish there, my fish there. So Josh has got one 73 centimetres, so it's a little, I think yesterday's was 77, a little bit smaller but still a cracking fish. 64. So they're both good fish. Any Pollock over 60 is a decent fish. Oh, it was emotional, and you know what, I think we've done well to get out there given the conditions. They were less than favourable, but we've get all the gear washed in and we're going to go and get back on the ferry to Yell and then get to hopefully the mainland. We've not booked the ferry, so hopefully we'll just wing it and there won't be too much of a queue. See you back in Lerwick. So we're in Lerwick now. We came back off Unst. Weather's a bit miserable, it's a bit miserly. We're going to get absolutely soaked. Throw that lens off again. There we go. I finally reunited my Hero 8 with its underwater housing so I can get some underwater footage. I've got the Predator roller pole spear by Headhunter, which I'm going to hopefully give a test to today. And I've been told that there's a lot of mackerel in this area as well, so I've switched over my 70 inverted roller as temporarily becoming a competition style gun. So it's a normal open muzzle now. I've put on it a Paphos open muzzle, really low profile with a single 16mm band, so I'm going to give that a go and hopefully test that out on some mackerel. That's the plan, to see how it's shooting, make sure it's shooting straight, because I don't want a gun that's shooting around corners for my competition. And yeah, we've got Murray with us as well, so the boat's going to be pretty full up. 3 of us on the Thundercat, but it'll be good fun. So unfortunately we got the Thundercat started and then the engine conked out, and we've tried everything we can to get the engine going again. It was having a wee bit of issues yesterday, but we've taken the spark plugs out, cleaned them a bit, and it's not firing up now, so we don't know what the fault is with the engine. So we're now going on Murray's boat, so Murray's very kindly agreed to take that in this boat. It's a very spacious boat in comparison to what we were going on. Taking stuff back to basics now. This is me testing out the 70cm carbon gun, which I'm planning to use in Finland. It's the same gun that I use for my inverted roller. I ended up chopping off 20cm and turning it into a 70cm inverted roller instead of a 90cm, because it was just a bit difficult to deal with and overkill for what I was doing for the most part. So I put on an open muzzle here. This is a Paphos open muzzle with a single 16mm band. For a 70cm gun, it's got more than enough punch. Definitely don't need 2 bands on this. My plan was to get used to shooting this gun because I'd changed it just before the competition. It wasn't a smart idea, but to get good at shooting this gun. So I had a few cracks with this and then got frustrated because I couldn't hit anything and decided to go for my pole spear. I don't know what was happening here, but I couldn't hit anything with this gun. I missed a few fish in quick succession and was quick to throw in the towel and go and try my new pole spear out. So this is my Headhunter Predator pole spear. It's the roller edition, and I opted for rollers just because I love rollers, so I thought if I'm going to get a fancy pole spear I might as well opt for the roller one so I don't end up wanting to upgrade. It's got a slip tip on it. I've never used a slip tip until now for this pole spear. I can totally see why though. Having used it now, it totally makes sense. My first thoughts of this pole spear is that it is incredibly fast in the water. Once you've got it loaded, the speed of which this thing fires is second to none. Having used other pole spears in the past without any success, I'd always thought that it was speed that lets a pole spear down. However, these roller pole spears absolutely punch straight through the water. I definitely think that you need to load this pole spear once you're down there, as trying to load it on the surface and take it down is a pretty inefficient use of your energy and your oxygen, so I always load it on the bottom. The setup I'm using with this pole spear is at the base of the pole spear I've got a 1 meter bungee connected to a shark clip, which is then connected to a Rob Allen belt reel, which is obviously connected onto my belt. This is probably the best way to set this up. You could set it up using a float line, however I think probably a belt reel is the best way, as long as you're comfortable using a belt reel and you're aware that if anything happens you are to ditch a belt at the first opportunity, because it can be dangerous. I'd like to say a special thank you to my sponsors, Spearfishing UK, for supplying me with this pole spear, and I'd also like to say a special thank you to Leif from Spearfishing UK, who actually sent up his own personal rub-on belt reel for me in order to try out this pole spear in this setting. Coalie. Overside bait, right? Oh yeah. That's my first ever fish with a pole spear. By no means a large one, but I'm very happy. Okay, so I'm just being boated for a wee while. So I'm captain. Going in the water, just a little bit over there. So I'm just going to chill out and eat this Scotch egg, because I'm pretty goosed after a pretty heavy dive with the pole spear. Probably should have finished this egg before I started this. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy. Pole spear was challenging. I knew it was going to be challenging, but I got a Coalie on the pole spear. I did hit one, but it was right at the end of the range of the spear, and it didn't go in far enough for the slip tip to engage, sadly, so the fish got kind of partially stoned but kind of still twitched off, which is really frustrating. But it was a 17 metre dive and I didn't have the breath hold to go after it, so I made the decision to turn around, which is probably the right decision. Well, actually it's always the right decision, turn around if you're not sure. After my success with the pole spear, I opted to switch back to the 70 and managed to get one pollock. It's not the biggest fish, however it was the first fish I've speared with this gun since I changed it onto an open muzzle, so I'm pretty happy with that. It's a bit of a confidence boost. Once back in the harbour, we fed the harbour seals with the frames of the fish that we'd filleted. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I look forward to showing you part 3 and the final part of my Shetland tour on the next one.